Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm brewing Kolsch today, which isn't really new to this channel, but there is a little bit of a change. I'm leaving the old 8-gallon brew kettle behind, and Tammy and Jeff and Corinne and Jennifer and Bob bought me a 16-gallon brew kettle. So that is what I'm going to do today. I'm going to go up to 10-gallon batches and see how that works out. I went to Beersmith and I printed this out, and when I first looked at it, I was a little bit confused because they were so close to doubling the batches. I mean, the grain bills doubled, the hops were like, instead of 2 ounces, 1.92. Now I'm not going to do that, I'm throwing in 2 ounces. I'm not going to get into, if it's that, if it makes that much of a difference, then there's a real problem. I'm sure this is going to be exactly the same either way, whether I go to 0.92 or if I go up to 2 ounces. So we'll see how this whole thing goes. This is going to cut my brew day in half. So if you remember last year, I was always doing 2 batches a day, and part of that was to get my brewing done quickly because we knew we were making a trip in March to pick up the puppy. So, and as you can see, she's not out here. She's been a very naughty dog today. She stole a piece of bacon, which is not good. But anyway, I just can't, she's not to the point where I can leave her alone out here and not worry about her. So it's probably going to be, I'm guessing, another year before you see her kind of wandering around in here while I'm brewing. The other girls are just fine, completely trustworthy, but she's got a sneaky side to her. So anyway, that's it. Let's get started. Okay, after lifting 18 pounds of grain onto the step ladder, because I think I'm going to need a little extra height, I can tell you I'm not real thrilled about that right off the bat. I think that's going to pose a few challenges when I'm trying to balance it and get the grain in, but we'll see how it goes. I'm at about 140 degrees right now in the hot liquor tank, and I have to get up to, I think, 167.9, 169.6. So, and here comes the rain. I can never hit these brew days right. So anyway, back in a minute. Okay, I put 5.6 gallons into the mash tun. Now it's time to start the grain. Oh, maybe it's not going to be as bad as I thought. That's really not that bad. Maybe because I'm on the step ladder this time. And previous to this batch, I ended up tearing everything apart. The mash tun, the 8-gallon brew kettle, thinking that I was going to be using that. And boy, am I glad I did. And I'm very fastidious about how I clean my stuff between brewing. But when I got everything apart, there was a lot of buildup. I wouldn't say there wasn't a lot of junk, but there was a lot of buildup. So I'm really glad I took the time to go through everything. And of course, I've sanitized everything this morning. So we are more than ready to brew. The only thing I'm a little unsure of is whether I will have enough oxygen left in my little bottle to aerate the wort, and it's really not going to be an issue anyway. I can rock it a little bit if need be. So it's nice in here. I have a heat pump, and I have it set at about 70 right now. I had it set at, I think, 62 last night. Got up this morning, took Eva for a walk. It was 40 degrees, but the real feel was 33, and boy, did it feel like 33. And now we've got these storms rolling through, and it's only going to get worse for about the next 4 days. So this really was the best of a bad opportunity to do a brew. Next chance is Friday. That's going to be some nice weather. I think 60 degrees. So I will be doing something then, probably honey wheat. So anyway, this is going a lot better than I thought. So I'm going to put the lid on this in a minute and let it sit for an hour, and we'll see how that works. All right, I've mashed in the 18 pounds of Pilsner grain and 5.63, you know what that means. Gallons of water, stirred it, mixed it in, looked good. Went a little bit easier than I thought, but I'll tell you what, that, I gotta find a different way to position myself on the ladder because I could feel it in my back towards the end. But anyway, we're at 150 degrees, should be at 152, that's close enough. May climb a hair, it looks like it's at maybe 151. But anyway, that for an hour, and then we're ready to start the sparge. Okay, it's been an hour. Let's start getting our sparge going. I'm gonna try and get off the first bit of the first runnings here and clear the grain bed. So actually, I'm just thankful there wasn't a stuck sparge because I'm not sure if I could lift that mash tun down with all the water and grain in it. But I don't have stuck sparges very often, but when I do, I've been very, very unsuccessful at clearing them without having to actually dump all the grain out, put it back in the mash tun, and start over again. I think maybe once I got lucky. So doing okay here. I'm getting there. Smells good. That's a good sign. We ended at 150, so that's great. So now we're at, I think it was at 151, only dropped a degree over the hour. So that's real nice. And I just noticed another thing with the new setup, and that's I have to figure out a way to secure this hose somehow so it doesn't just dangle down into the pot. The last pot was pretty nice. I could put a little zip tie around the handle and fit it in. I think what I'll do here is probably just prop the lid on top of the hose high up, and that ought to hold it into place. I think we're pretty good here. So, go grab my spoon, and we'll get the sparge going once I dump this back into the mash tun. Okay, what you didn't see was that once I hooked up the little sparge arm, it was so long because it used to only work on grain that was about up to here. Well, now the grain's up to about here. So then I was in a mad dash to tear it apart, try and figure out what size it needed to be, and then get it going before I actually needed to, before I was going to run out of whatever available water was in the mash tun going into the brew kettle, which I did okay. It was just one of those things where you don't, I guess if you're not dry running it, putting all your equipment together first to see how it's all going to play out, it might be something you run into. So hindsight being 20/20, I should have thought through how that was going to sit, but I haven't really hooked it up since last March. So anyway, right now I've got 168 degree water flowing over the grain bed with about, I think there's probably an inch of water, inch or two of water on top, trying to meter it in the same at the same rate into the boil kettle, and I'll be watching it closely to make sure that I don't over sparge. So anyway, that's it until we finish the sparge, and hopefully can clean out my stuff without getting totally soaked out in the rain. All right, it continues to pour outside, and I just finished the sparging, which took about, I'd say, an hour and 30 minutes, an hour 20 to 30 minutes. I should have timed it a little bit better, but that's about normal, I guess, for a 10 gallon batch. So anyway, Just waiting for the boil to start and then throwing in the first set of hops. It's been a great day so far. I found out my credit card was stolen. Someone's not physically having it, but they're certainly using the numbers for charging. So yeah, it's been a banner day. So anyway, on with the boil, back when it starts. Okay, crystal hops, 10 minutes. Okay, the chiller is running, and as some of you know, I use my pool pump to pump cold water from the pool, which is sitting at 41 degrees today, through the chiller, and then it discharges right back into the pool. So that's the most efficient way I've found and best way to save some money on water. So all I have left to do, chill this down, put it in the carboys, pitch the yeast. I'm using Y yeast, this time liquid yeast, and put some airlocks on them and cart them in the house. So I don't think you guys need to see that. You see it all the time. I'll come back and kind of follow up with what I've learned over the course of this batch. All right, well that's it for the 10 gallons of Kolsch. The noise you hear behind me is Eva, who's fastened back here so she can't wander off. So what did I learn from this new foray into 10-gallon batches? First thing I learned this morning was Eva really likes bacon. Will do anything to get it. Second thing was I'm thinking that with the new brew kettle, I probably should have washed it better than I did. I used Dawn and I went through it. I did a leak test on it. I ran hot water through it. I ended up with some funny black specks on the foam as it came to a boil, which I scraped off. So I don't know if there was like residual oil in there that I couldn't get out. I have read online that you should use Barkeeper's Friend on new stainless. So that's my stop today. I'm going to do that. I don't think, given what I smelled on the, with the brewing and everything, it smells normal. It certainly started fermenting normally. The flocculation in the fermenters looks normal, so it could have been the grain. I just don't know, so I guess I'll know with the second batch. I should have dry fit everything, because that running around trying to get the sparge arm correct on the fly was definitely not fun. The boil takes longer, which you would expect, and not a whole lot longer, but a bit longer, and then cooling down the work took longer than usual, but again, you're cooling off a 10-gallon batch. And I'm using 41 degree water out there running through. I know, baby. The cleanup was a little bit more difficult just because when you're dumping grain, now you're lifting something in excess of 18 pounds plus the 9-pound mash tun plus whatever residual water's in there. It's a little bit of a workout. My gravity on this batch was a little bit higher than anticipated. So it was supposed to be, the pre-boil gravity was supposed to be a 1.042 and I had a 1.050. And my final gravity was supposed to be a 1.051 and I was at a 1.059. So I mean, the difference between the two, whether you go with the sheet or you go with what happened, the difference is the same between pre-boil and post-boil. I think I just got more efficient grain utilization because ordinarily I have to stop a little bit short and use fresh water to add to the boil, and this time I didn't have to do that at all. I think once I get this process down, I think it'll be much easier and faster than it was yesterday, because yesterday everything was kind of chaos between everything that was going on, between the puppy and someone getting my account information. So I think that's probably about it as far as things that I learned. I'm looking forward to doing the next batch on Friday when the temperature is going to be 60 degrees outside. It was really cold out there yesterday cleaning the equipment. I always take it outside and I use my hose and hose everything out. And then I come back in, scrub it. And I think yesterday our high might have been 40 if it got that high, and it was raining all day. So anyway, that's it. See you guys again next time for another 10-gallon batch. This has been a Matty Boy presentation. Say bye-bye, Matty. Bye-bye.